Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you. Um, it is 11:23 p.m. here in Japan in Hyogo, where I live. Uh, for those of you who have been following, I have not been feeling well, and it's been that way since I got back from Tokyo. Um, Tokyo was a bit of an ordeal, as good as it was, as fun as it was, as exciting as it was. um, as many opportunities as there were. There have just been, I don't know exactly what it is, something to balance out the fact that a lot of good stuff has been happening, a lot of bad stuff has been happening as well. But I had been sick for the past week and a half. I was recovering. I am still recovering. But in my recovery and staying home most of the time, um, yeah, you kind of get little bit lost in your own head when you're home by yourself, just kind of recovering and not really talking to anyone at all. You're kind of just sort of living in your own head, which is kind of what I've been doing. Anyhow, I know my voice is not quite what it usually is. Um, yeah, it's just not what it is. But that's just how it is right now. And I am hoping that it'll be better in the next few days. So, it's been a while since I've done a live stream review of shows and outside of Bandmate anyway. I believe, yeah, the last time was right after Yokohama, which was, a very fun, amazing, exciting, wonderful time. Um, so yeah, let me just say that today's video, I will be talking about two nights, which are yesterday, Saturday night, and tonight, Sunday night. Let's start with last night, Saturday night. I went to a brand new venue. I think it just opened up a couple of months ago. It's called Yogibo Meta Valley. And there's also, I believe, a venue like that's also Yogi Bowl, like Yogi Bear, but Yogi Bowl, called Holy Mountain. So there's Holy Mountain and Meta Valley. I don't know who chose those names or what the reasons were. That's what it is. So I went to Yogi Bowl Meta Valley in Osaka, and there were four bands playing that night. The first was a band I had seen quite a few months back called Fire Flame. Songs aren't bad. I think they're still a new band. I think they still need to sort of find themselves, but I do think they have potential. I'll leave it at that. And then there was Asterism, Bridear, and the last band called Gargoyle. I didn't stay for because I decided to go back home, try to rest up, and get prepared for today. Um, but let's go over last night first. So last night I had a chance to go to Yogi Mid Valley and two bands that I appreciate so deeply, and I think they're quite different, um, but both extremely exciting, both very fun in their own respects, in their own ways. Let's start with Asterism. Um, Asterism, I think most of you know, is a three-piece band. They started roughly 7, 8 years ago, and pretty much the star of the band, even though all three of them are amazing instrumentalists, amazing musicians. Um, you have Mio on drums, who's the oldest at 23. You have Miyu on bass, who is his younger brother at 21. And then you have Haruka, who's also 21. She just turned 21 last month. And phenomenal musicians. They are so talented. And they're just so technical, and just they have so much soul in their playing as well, not just technique. But when it comes down to it, the highlight of the highlight is Haruka, the main. I don't want to say the main spotlight, the main person. I mean, she's the lead guitarist. She's the guitarist. And recently, she's also the lead singer because they decided to sort of change up. Um, I guess just sort of try to change up and make music that's sort of a bit more appealing to the masses. So then you have um, not just instrumentals, but you have songs that are being sung. You have um, songs that are being written with lyrics, with melody, and it's hmm, what can I say? I appreciate what they're doing, and I think the songs that are sung are not bad. I think they're actually they're pretty good songs. But when you compare Haruka as a singer, oh sorry, I just missed that. Darn it. I turned my head, I turned this way, and I missed what you just typed, Richard. Um, all I know is that as a lead singer and as a band, as a singing kind of singing band, they're a great band, and I think they have really good songs. But I think it falls short of Haruka when she is in the zone, playing the guitar, doing what God basically put her on earth for. And sometimes I even wonder, was she even put on earth? Because there are times, and it's times where she is doing her solos. It's the times where she gets lost. And I've seen I've seen Asterism two times previously. One time in Osaka at a free show, actually back to back, and this was outdoors. And then the second time was a one-man show, which was at the end of October at Bronze, Osaka Bronze. But last night was actually the very first time where I saw Haruka like fall into that moment of possession, that moment of leaving her body, or rather something else inhabiting her body. And I think it's the best of the best at whatever. Like you see sports players, whether it's Michael Jordan on his best day, um, whether you see an actor just lost in the moment, somebody like Pacino or De Niro, whoever it is. I mean, there are any number of people who like excel so far beyond in scope of what most people do in their field that they become something else, and you do feel like they are embodying, they are sort of being inhabited by something else, that they are being sort of used as an instrument. And last night was the very first time where I really felt that. I mean, I saw glimpses of that from Haruka, but last night was the first time where I just kind of like where this sounds strange, but kind of like where like you see the whites of her eyes, like you feel like something flipped, something got lost, but something also got found, and you see her just in the moment doing her solos. And I mean, there are phenomenal, phenomenal guitarists. Like you could throw a rock anywhere in Japan and you'll find an amazing guitarist. So then you start comparing, and then you're like, well, can you really compare? And you really can't. At a certain point, you just say, well, I like this particular guitarist. I like their technique. I like their tone. I like their sound. I like their melodies. But Haruka really stands apart, and she's something else. I've seen, like videos of her like in the past, and she moves me in a way that very, very few guitarists can. Especially even when it's not live, when I see her like in a video live, there are moments that I see her play, and I am so moved to like tears at just how beautiful it is, and how much, as they say, a force of nature she is. when you see lightning so powerful, just cracking down and just like setting a tree on fire and splitting it in half. It's that kind of power. It's that kind of like you can't touch it. And there's that quality that Haruka has. And I'll be honest, I don't think if I name names, you guys will start kind of going off. So I'm not gonna name any names, but again, I don't know any guitarist really that can do that the way that she does. And I highly encourage you to catch them live at some point. And I know that some of you did this past year because they did play a few shows in the States for free. Um, but if you're ever in Japan and you get a chance to see them, um, hi, Mr. B, good to hear from you. Yes, SJ got in touch with me. She is the guitarist. I don't even think her generation. I feel like Haruka is a guitarist of like I can't say quite a few generations. Um, uh, Not to go on too long about this, but man, when Haruka plays, I feel like her feet are off the ground. Her feet are off the ground. She is not touching the earth. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Um, but Neil on drums, man, last night he was really getting into it. And he does that, like, he loves, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, every guitarist has their own thing. They're phenomenal players. But when I do see her play, I do feel, um, I do feel the same sort of like possession that I see when I saw like SRV play. Just lost, completely just like in that zone, like untouchable. Oh, it was beautiful. You could see sort of the sweat over her lips, just like again like that dreamy state of just not quite knowing where she is and knowing where exactly she is, and like separating herself from this plane of existence. But Mio on drums, he's always great, always so much fun. He's a really small guy, but when he gets into it, he's standing up off of the seat and just pounding on the cymbals, just pounding on everything he can, tom snare. Um, and I was really fortunate because when he did that, he went for it, and his stick flew out, and it landed right in front of me, in front of the monitor, right where I was. So I grabbed out, I got it, and yeah, this is Mio. This is his drumstick. I'm not sure if it was left hand or his right hand. Probably his right. Then I asked him, "Oh, hey, dude, you want it back? Do you want it back?" He goes, "No, it's okay." So yeah, I was the recipient of his drumstick, and it's a nice addition because not only do I have his drumstick now, I also have uh, the two that Mayo gave me, Mayo from Hades, at Red Dragon in Nagoya, that all the girls signed. And of course, this past summer in Anaheim, um, getting this by hand from Akane at the end of the show. So it's, I never expected to be at a point where I'm like, maybe I need to start tracking down whose sticks are whose. But I felt very lucky. So yeah, it was great. And Miyu on bass does some awesome work. Um, Miyu on bass incorporates a lot of different techniques. He plays a 7 string. Um, he does play the low end again as a bass. He's slapping, he's picking, he's tapping, he's strumming it like a guitar. It's really, he's basically playing two instruments in one, like guitar slash bass. And he does a wonderful job just like covering like all the bases so that Haruka does have the freedom to just do what she can. So it was a great show. I think they only did maybe 6 or 7 songs. And it's unfortunate that it was so short. And I really, really wish, to be honest, that they would play more instrumentals. For me, it's when Haruka is just like not just her, of course, all of them, but when I see her sort of lost in the moment, it just man, God, it blows me away. It's really something else. It is something else. So after them, Bridear was up. And Bridear is another band that is very dear to my heart. Um, I really love all of them, but especially, hey, Bill was put on Earth. Man, ah, she's just something else. I mean, like last night when I was watching her play, sorry, I'm gonna go back to Bright here. But last night when I was watching her play, every time she was just doing her solo and like transcended, again, I just felt like her feet were lifted off the ground. Like she was just like hovering over us humans. This really pure angel of music is something to behold. Going to Bright Deer. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you always so much. Um, but yeah, Bright Deer's a band. I call them the coolest girls on campus. Um, I think Kimi has this quality. It's funny because I know for a fact that Kimi is younger than me, probably much younger than me, but she seems like my older sister, like the coolest older sister ever. There's something about the way she carries herself. There's this really low key, quiet confidence she has. And I don't know, some people, they just have a cool about them. Some people are just cool, some people aren't. Um, and she's just so damn cool. And she really sort of sets the mood for, I think, everyone. But what I love about Bridear is that they actually have quite an arsenal. If you have listened to Bridear's albums or you've watched them live, um, trying to break it down, you have Haru on bass, who does actually some really cool stuff. She does some really cool walking bass lines like through the songs, and I've really come to love, absolutely adore her growl, her death voice, as they say in Japan. Um, yeah, it's special. It's just like it's like a perfect growl. It's so good. Um, and then you have Moe, who's the newest member who came in, just what is it, last year? Um, and she's acclimating herself even still. I think she still is sort of finding her footing. But the fact that she was the one who wrote Eyes of Doubt, such a good song, such a well-written song. I love that song, and they played it last night as well. And every time I hear that song, I just think, God, this is such a good song, and it really is. So I think she has so much potential, and her lead work is she's got some smooth leads. It's good. I mean, once she's like confident enough as a performer, I think it'll up her game. But I think musically and as a musician, she's already like really top tier. Then you have Kimmy, who I think is a phenomenal like songwriter and a singer. And when she sings, there's a quality in her voice that grabs me in a way that not every singer can. There are certain singers who grab you, and certain singers don't. Um, and there are people that people will say, "Oh, they're technically so amazing," and I agree, but they don't grab me, and that's what needs to happen. If she grabs me, but I love just her performance, and she's just cute as hell. When she sings, when she smiles, when she's just getting into it, um, and when she hits those soft, just like perfect pitch notes, it's just beautiful, beautiful. Then you have Ayumi, the guitarist, who's also really just cool, laid back, like such a cool girl. But I love the work she does on rhythm, also on lead, and then the fact that you have her and you have Moe doing their dual guitar solos. Just I love it when guitarists just can harmonize and they do some really good stuff. Um, yeah, I do actually. We do. MNN Tokyo Plus. We just started Patreon. This is to help support the channel because we would like to upgrade equipment, um, and whatnot, and then also to kind of help me out personally in moving to Tokyo so that I can do even more of this work to be closer to these bands and do these things. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Bill. If you are interested, oh, a light went out. That should be okay. But if you are interested, MNN Tokyo Plus on Patreon, and there are 5 different tiers. The most basic is at $2, and you can just help out, and just as a thank you for the work that we do here. And you can look at everything else and see what kind of fits with what you would like to do and how to contribute and what you'd like to get. So, um, but yeah, I love their work. And then you have, again, Natsumi, I mean, you have Ayumi and Moe as the, dual guitarists. And they have this thing now, they're called the Sukiyaki Sisters. And as the Sukiyaki Sisters, they've done covers of Def Leppard, Motley Crue, I believe Halloween, quite a few different bands, X Japan. But yeah, they do some really good stuff. Really good stuff. And then you have Natsumi, the drummer. And they had postcards. They were selling for 1,500 yen, like $10. So I thought, hey, I could afford that. And I'll just show you guys real quickly what it is. So in Japan, in New Year's or on New Year's, they send out postcards to friends and family, and hey, how are you? Hope you have a good year, that type of stuff. So this is what I purchased, and then they have the individual postcards of each of them. So you have Kimi here, and then Ayumi. She's just such a cool girl. And then you have Natsumi, and within each packet, they had quite a few, but depending upon which one you bought, you get a handwritten signature and message from a member. You didn't know who. So I got Natsumi, who I really, really enjoy so much as a drummer and as a person on Twitter. Like Richard mentioned earlier, she really is a character. She loves just writing about her pets, her eating, her swimming, being tired, just practicing. She just shares a lot. So if you guys would like to, follow her on Twitter, yeah, get to know her. She's someone who will comment back sometimes, and she really likes to interact with the fans. And I think not every musician does that. So if you have a musician that is willing to like your comment and even comment back once in a while, like that's a huge plus, because that is not everyone. And I follow quite a few, and I comment quite often, so I do know that from personal experience. So yeah, that is Natsumi's, and then Moe and Haru. She is the most petite, but again, the fact that she growls the way she does while playing bass is really cool. I've come to appreciate her a lot too. So I saw them in Tokyo on the 25th, the night before Yokohama with Bandmade, and I loved that show as well. So it was great seeing them again last night. I've said this before, but I think we are in a day and age where it's not really just about the music. And I know some people, some of you may even do that. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Um, I'm recovering. I'm recovering, but yeah, I could be better. Thank you for asking. Um, but I think we live in a day and age, especially with social media, where it's not just about the music. It can be. It can always just be just about the music. You can't always just listen to what, musicians are out there, what songs are out there, what bands are out there, what albums are out there, and that's totally fine. I agree. I really hope Bridear goes out to America. I really think they should. I think they get a lot of fans, and they already have. But because of social media, it adds an extra layer and opportunity for fans to get to know these musicians, and vice versa for these musicians to get to know us, the fans. And so um, there's a level of transparency, or the ability to be transparent much more so, to share much more between one another, which can lead to a lot more proximity and feelings and just appreciation for bands. And so yeah, like for me, I love bands for their music, of course, of course. Like I'm not gonna like a band just because I think they're hot. If I like a band just because they're hot, then why, it's not really liking them as a band, is it? Um, but you come to love their music, but you also come to appreciate them as people and get closer to them through what they share and I think their gratitude for fans. So I think that happened for a lot of us with Bandmate. We got closer to Bandmate because they were so open about their feelings and their affection and their appreciation for the fans. So yeah. Yeah, that is true. Bridear went this past year, right? And which is where they recorded the live, right? So we have here Aegis of London. Aegis, I've looked it up and I've heard it and I always forget. Um, Aegis, Agus, Haggis. But they've got some great songs. They really do. And their discography is pretty large. They've been playing since 2012. So that's over 11 years of albums and of songs. So if you go back and you check them out, you're gonna find maybe not every song will connect, maybe not every song will be like the best thing ever, but you're gonna find music that you're gonna really enjoy. And even like last night after the show, I was listening, I was like, oh wait, have I heard this song? I'm like, this is a good song. It's like, oh, that's right, there's this song as well. So I believe the album I was listening to was Bloody Bride from 2021. I could be wrong. Um, but yeah, so that was last night. Um, ah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you know, hopefully Brighter can make it out to America as well. I hope they do, and I think they were planning to, but because of COVID, you know, a lot of things got stopped and put on hiatus. So hopefully next year we'll open that up. But so that was last night. The two main bands for me were Asterism, Bridear. Both of them did not disappoint. The only thing that I was disappointed by is that both sets were way too short for me. I would love at least an hour, if not more, from them. Um, and I went to another show tonight, which I'll talk about very soon. But last night, um, it might have been that someone mentioned on Twitter, or I was just thinking about this. But it's just, oh, you know what it was? It was so not only did I get Mio's drumstick from Asterism, but Ayumi from Bridear. That would be this lady right here. She threw out her guitar pick. She threw it. I think a few of us like lunged for it. We were in front, and it bounced back onto the stage. And usually, if there's a pick and there's all these people going for it, I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. But it was on the stage, and people were just standing there, so I just lunged and jumped over the rail. And thinking back, I probably could have just kind of crawled under the rail and grabbed it. So, but yeah, I was just thinking, here I am. I can see Asterism and Bridear, two of the best bands in Japan, and I think even in the world, to be honest. And I can see them. I can just take a train ride down to Osaka, to Osaka and see them. Hey, old Mr. B, I think you've reacted to like every single Japanese rock and metal band to every video that that I've seen. Oh, actually, Mr. B, I just interviewed Doll Parts. I interviewed Doll Parts um, back in Tokyo, and Arisa had mentioned, well, she asked me, "Do you know who old Mr. B is?" I said, "Yeah, I've seen his videos. I've heard of him." She said, "Oh yeah, he's watched my videos, and he's complained about my smoking, in a couple of them." So she's aware of you, and she knows that you don't like it when she smokes. Okay, so I won't be able to go on too long with this video because my throat really does need to rest. It's still recovering from all the coughing I did this past week and a half. So I'm gonna go on to the next section. But as I was saying, I am so lucky to be living in Japan. I don't know. I mean, I think most of you out there maybe can't move to Japan for whatever reason, doing what you're doing, living your life, everything is established. But if not, if you have the opportunity, and if you love Japanese bands and their music the way that I do, come on down, fly on over. Just, you know, just come. Tickets are like what, $20 US? There's probably a show that you can watch just about every night if you want to. And if you're like me, I just have a dog. And to be honest, if I didn't have a dog, I would be going to even more shows, staying out even longer. But if you're a single guy, and you can just get out there, then goodness, I mean, I feel like there is no better place to be. If you love music, there is no better place to be than Japan. And if you have the opportunity, if you have to sell just a little bit more blood, if you have to give up just one more limb, ah man, I really think it's worth it. I really think it's worth coming out here and having the experience of coming to these live shows, these small venues. Um, so even last night, the capacity was 600, the venue I was at, and there was probably barely 200 people there. Um, and it just, it still blows my mind that these bands are like world-class bands. World-class band. um, uh, yeah, can you imagine if a few of us were out here and we could go watch shows together all the time? Oh, that'd be so much fun. Um, yeah. So what I know is that I'm very fortunate, and I know because a lot of you maybe can't come out here. Um, I really do want to do what I can to spread the word, to spread the good news of all this stuff, and yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. Okay, going on to tonight, as I rambled on. Oh, by the way, last night my ticket number was number one. If those of you who didn't see that, I was number one, very very much number one at the entrance of the show. So I got in right at the rail, exactly where I wanted to be. And funnily enough, some of you know Michael Barber, who was there also last night to see Asterism. He was number two. Um, Not sure why two gaijins got number one and number two for these shows, but I ain't complaining. And then tonight I was number A13, but there was a VIP. Um, and yes, yes, anybody and everybody who can spread the news of Japanese music, go out there. Go. Get out into the world. Um, so tonight there were two bands that played. It was a two-man. The first band is one of my favorite bands, not just in Japan, but just in the world, Saiseiga. I have loved this band since I first heard them. I found them at the beginning of the year. I heard about them, decided to listen to their music, and I couldn't get enough. This album here, Nostalgia, is freaking phenomenal. If you have not listened to Nostalgia, I recommend that you do that right now or right after you watch this video. Nostalgia, Saiseiga. Um, they, man. So I tweeted out a little bit earlier, and I said, "There's no band that can break my bones and soothe my soul quite the way that Saiseiga can." They are beautiful. They are brutal. Um, Tonight, the sound was fantastic. It was a capacity of 300 at a venue called Brand New. And the ceiling was probably about ah, maybe barely 7 feet. Like, if you're a tall dude, then you may have to crouch to get inside. Um, but yeah, uh, tonight's sound, like, I wasn't sure about it at first, but at least with Saiseiga, it it's like IMAX pressed pressed really, really hard, really, really close, and just smashing your face in. That's sort of IMAX, more Yeti. Like you can see the cracks. You can see just like it's just it's just pushing, just pressing up. But man, it's like Saiseiga sound, and this is in no way a bad thing, but it's like a chainsaw. It's like a chainsaw going through your skull, and you can feel and you can hear every just cut and crack, and just drip like the blood is pouring out. Like it's just, mm, God, they're so good. They're so good. Um, they are like at the top of my recommendation list in terms of listening to their music and especially seeing them live. Um, they create something special. They really create their own climate. Their music, uh, like Wakun, the guitarist, he has developed a very particular tone and style of playing, especially in his solos, and there's no one quite like him. Oh, now that you say that, um, I'm not working right now, guys, so these shows I had purchased tickets prior. Um, but at the show, I still want to show a little support. So Jeff mentioning that, I decided to buy a little acrylic. Let's see, can I focus that? Where are you? So I have my very own Regan to give me the finger as long as she wants to. And she's been doing so on my desk right now. Yeah. So if you guys make it out, then there are acrylics available, and that one is it's a good one. Um, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about Saiseiga, well, something else, but I'll come back to that. So, but yeah, their show tonight, it started off, I mean, they always start off really hard hitting, but it wasn't until they had a 70-minute set, and it wasn't until they did a couple of their ballads. Um, and it's crazy because of how hard hitting Saiseiga is as a band, but their ballads are just gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful, touching. Like again, it just Saiseiga, as hard hitting as some of their songs can be, if you've heard Regan and her death voice, her growls, I mean, like those growls are like from the depths of hell. Like she growls and like Satan is like, "Oh my God, what was that?" Oh, Saiseiga is S. Sorry, Saiseiga is Saiseiga. Saiseiga. Um, you can listen to Jumble, like Jumble, which is a great single, and then also Ride On, Rideon, Ride On. So those are two really great singles. But I think if it's the same case for me, is the singles are always great, but then you're always gonna find a single on the album that is better to you. So that's usually been the case for me. Um, yeah. So, but it really wasn't until um, they did their ballads, and after their ballads, like Regan turned it on. And if you haven't heard from me before, Regan is one of the most formidable front persons ever. She has charisma pouring out of every pore. She just oozes um, so much presence, so much personality. Um, she can come off scary, charming, sweet, coquettish. Um, but man, ah, goodness, you have to see her live to understand what I'm talking about. And if you do watch the music videos, you'll get a taste of it. You get a little understanding of it. But it isn't until you really catch her in person, you watch them live, she makes eye contact with you. She will either shoot you or give you the finger. Every once in a while, maybe she'll give you a heart. Um, but she's just passion incarnate. Just really one of the best front women ever, ever, ever. Um, yeah. She can do things and she can sway people like very, very few people can. So, but Toko on drums, Katsuki on bass, both incredible, incredible work with what they do. So much rhythm, so much technique, um, and it's just so epic. They create really just some of the most beautiful, beautiful arrangements like I've heard. So check them out. I love their show tonight, and I actually got to interview them. They were probably one of the first bands I ever wanted to interview. Once SJ and I agreed that we would try to kind of get in touch with some of these bands, or try to promote more Japanese bands besides just Bandmade. So um, I cannot recommend Saiseiga enough. I haven't talked about them in a while, but yeah, you guys really should. I know that Ryan has some stuff coming out with them too. So Ryan Muir, keep your eyes out for that, and keep your eyes out for my interview with them. Unfortunately, our time to do the interview was 50 minutes, and then it got cut down to 20 minutes. Um, so it wasn't quite the interview that I wanted. It wasn't quite the mood that I wanted. I didn't get to go through all the questions and go about it in the way that I wanted. Um, so I'm hoping though, that it does turn out good, and I'll get to work on that, and hopefully it'll be out either end of the year or beginning of next year as a nice New Year's gift. Okay. Um, the last band, which I'm not gonna talk about too much, um, just because they're not quite my style. Um, They've been around for quite a long time, I think with various incarnations, but the singer, I don't know if you pronounce her name Mikal or Mital or Michal. I'm not quite sure what that is, but she's heavy on the cosplay. She wears the demon horns. She's got various wigs. Tonight she was dressed as like an 18th, 19th century high class demon with a bustier corset, like leggings, but she has got a voice on her. The band itself, Ancient Myth, they are symphonic metal uh, slash visual K, um, and it's just that's never been quite my thing. So even power metal isn't quite my thing. So power metal, symphonic metal, that area isn't something that I really grew up with. It's something that I lean towards. So I can't speak on it um, too well, but they are all talented. They had some good songs. Um, she reminded me, and what came to mind was she is a Japanese visual K operatic version of Mariah Carey. However that comes off, she has she has an insane vocal range, and even though her vocal style isn't quite what I enjoy, I still could appreciate what she was doing. Um, so yeah, um, they're definitely talented. And if you're into symphonic metal, if you're into that style, then please check them out if you haven't. Um, they've been around quite a while, so I'd be surprised if you haven't heard of them. But if you haven't, Ancient Myth. They do have a few early albums with Blacklisted, as you some of you know I'm close to, but otherwise I don't know too much about them. So kind of the interesting, funny thing was that the keyboardist for the band reminded me of a Japanese version of Nicolas Cage, but the way that his hair was and the way that he was dressed, it looked like a Japanese version of Nicolas Cage cosplaying as Tom Cruise in the interview with a vampire as Lestat, the vampire. So that kind of gave me a giggle during the show. But yeah, they're a good band. You can check them out. But those are the four bands I wanted to talk about: Asterism, Bridear, Saiseiga, and Ancient Myth. Um, the fact that I can see these shows back to back, again, one night after the other, and it's just it's insane. It really is really insane, and I can't. Um, my life is not at the best place right now, and there are a lot of things that are not stable or settled. Um, but it's little moments like last night and tonight that I appreciate that I'm alive. So I feel like the music that I'm discovering is worth living for and worth really helping out. So uh, yeah, I am grateful once again for all the opportunities I have. I'm grateful once again for all the opportunities that a lot of you have given to me in supporting our channel and supporting just what we do. So thank you so much. I think this past year we've had so many people just really contribute and help out to sort of generate buzz about our channel. And as our numbers have grown, I think our opportunities have and I think bands have seen that, oh, hey, maybe this channel is worth working with. And so, again, having the opportunity to work with Hades, with Sala, with the She-Glapes, goodness, oh, I saw Iori from Majesty in the Saga. She was there today. She was like, oh, Peter-san. I was like, Iori-san. Hi." So it was kind of cool to see her there. Um, Gosh, and there are other bands that I'm just that are escaping me. And but bands I've worked with, Whiskey Dust, Doll Parts. Their interview is coming up soon. The shows that I've been to, most of them, I mean, went to a few shows in Tokyo, one in Nagoya, and then in previous years, other places like Hiroshima as well. But most of the ones are in Osaka, because that's what I can afford. But most likely the last show that I'll be attending this year is December 30th with the She-Glapes. They have their one man, and that should be really cool because it's a one man, they should have about 2 hours for themselves, and it'll be a lot more loose, a lot more fun, and I'll be able to hear some songs that I haven't yet from them. And there are still a couple of songs I haven't heard, which are kind of my favorites from them. One is a song called Singularity. Another song is called Ruta Graviolens. Two really awesome songs. So if you haven't heard from the She-Glapes, I would definitely encourage you guys to check them out as well. They have this album called Seiden, the She-Glapes. Okay. So yeah, they do some phenomenal prog work. Oh man. Yeah, it's good to be healthy. Very good to be healthy. Hey Peter, what's up? uh yeah, most of these bands are Tokyo based. Um whether it's Asterism, Dull Parts, Hades, Whiskey Dust, Bridear. Um the only one that's not uh let's see, Osaka based, you have the She-Glapes. You also have another band that's up and coming, and actually that Alan from Dichotic will be interviewing sometime in their near future, and I believe I'll be helping out as well, called Dim Rays. And I'm sure maybe you've heard some buzz about them as well. So check out their stuff as well. They're really good. They're new. They're from Osaka. Dim, like, the lights are dim, and rays, like light rays, dim rays. You can check them out. Majesty and the Saga is also Osaka based. There are a few here. Dizzy Sunfist is another one. But by and large, the majority of the bands that I'm interested in, and I think just most bands in general, are Tokyo based. Whether they came from other places, Palaneo, yeah, they're still new, they're still fresh. I've seen them only once live. I think their music isn't bad. I think their live performances, they're getting there. They're getting there. Um, yeah. Ah, gosh, who else? Well, Electric Mama. I don't know if Electric Mama is quite the sound that a lot of you guys might like. There is sort of electronic dance elements incorporated. But yeah, I think they are a very good band as well with some awesome music. Paradox. Um, are they Osaka based? Possibly. I don't follow them enough. Um, they do come around. They do come around. Um, yeah, Bridear from Fukuoka, right? Asterism from Fukuoka, from Kyushu. Um, but yeah, so anyways, as I was saying, the reason why I do want to go to Tokyo is that there are a lot more opportunities. The opportunities that I've had just within this year of interviewing bands and of working with them, I can't imagine how much more I'll have. Not just new bands or other bands, but the bands that I've already worked with, I'll be able to work with that much more. And, um, you know, God willing, and if both parties, like, myself, as well as the other bands, if they're interested, we can do some fun stuff, some fun videos. Eminem could do stuff like English time with Hades, you know, that kind of stuff. I think that'd be pretty fun. So, yeah. Excuse me. I am gonna have to go, but thank you again for supporting us. Please do check out our Patreon. It is something that will help us in the future, and it will help build us up a lot in terms of securing just a lot more things. So yeah, please, Patreon, MNN, Tokyo Plus, the bands that I've mentioned, please check them out. Please support them. Don't just be a fan that just sort of consumes, contribute. You know, you can join their groups on Facebook. You can comment on Twitter, hashtag, do all those things. But, you know, bands do get a lot of support through your talking about them, through your really just sort of pushing them out there. Um, yeah, so please do that. Yeah, thank you so much, old Mr. B. Um, if you guys don't know, SJ, because I've been busy and I've been sick, but SJ had the opportunity to do an interview with old Mr. B, and that should be coming up whenever it comes up, which old Mr. B will be sharing about. So, yeah. Um, Sorry, I'm gonna leave it at that. We are close to an hour, and talking this much is gonna make it a little bit hard for me to recover. So, um, thank you guys for watching. On your Saturday, no, on your Sunday morning, your Sunday afternoon, your Sunday evening. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting. We all need to get our act together, don't we? Um, oh man, goodness. Thank you so much, Kurt. Devin, I hope things work out for you. Things kind of get better for you. Life can be tough. So, but yeah, let's continue to, you know, support each other and really take care of each other and really support these bands because they do something special that no one else can in our lives. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you very much. Please continue to watch some of our other videos, um, see what else is out there. If you guys haven't seen yet, also, if you haven't seen, there is an interview with me on Ryan. No, not on. There's an interview with me on Gaijin Guy's channel, and there is an interview with Hades, which I helped translate on Ryan and Mir's channel. So I've just kind of been doing some other stuff as well. So there are other interviews to come. I will try to get to that as soon as I can, as soon as I can recover. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will hopefully continue to bring you guys some really good stuff, some new stuff, some old stuff, but the best stuff that's out there. Thank you guys. I will try to heal up and get better as soon as possible, and I really hope that you guys will be okay with your own stuff. Yeah, Devin, please take care of yourself, and please hang in there. So thank you guys. I will see you again next time. Uh, Regan says bye. She sends you all of her love. And so does Bridear. These girls send you all of their love as well. And other than that, I'll see you guys again. Oh, one last thing. One quick last thing. Before my battery dies, Bandmaid does have a new song called Protect You with a new anime. And gosh, what was the name? It's an old anime. Somebody will post it. The song's called Protect You. Um, it is, I believe, the ending song. So there's news about that. You can go to their website. You can go to their Twitter. You'll find it somewhere. Somebody will post it, or it's already been there. So, okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, and I will see you again soon. Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.